And if you're leaving and you want a business card, I do have some business cards up there. Feel free to talk to me.
Got a few. Questions? Michaela.
A bunch of you guys mentioned that you do creed speaking. When you guys do your creed speaking contest, do you do it in English or do you do it in your native borough?
We do it in English because when we participate in the district, it's with a bunch of the kids in the northern district, and it's mostly Filipina's non-native kids.
Okay.
So we have to speak in English.
Say that word again, please. What's the non-native?
And the judges too, the advisors of each school that come and represent their district, their chapter, they're like our advisors. They don't understand that well.
Our district is large in square miles, but small in numbers. Half of the district is made up of schools from the reservation, and then the other half are not on the reservation. And so for us to go to a district competition, the closest one is right around an hour 20 minutes. That's our closest school within our district.
So I want to clarify, so y'all know which language she's using. She's talking about the Arizona FFA association structure. There's 8 districts, and the Northern District is the district they operate in. So they're not talking about the school district. How long does it take you to drive to the state competition?
If we are driving to Phoenix, you're looking at 5 hours on a good day, but you kind of budget 6 with kids, bathroom stops. And if we're going to Tucson, we leave a day early. And so it's 7-8 hours bus. So there is no direct route in Arizona, even though if we look at the map, we are directly almost north of Tucson. There's no straight road. We have to go east, to go south, to go west, to go, yeah.
How many,
We got lots of practice time on the bus though.
on the Navajo Reservation, how many schools offer ag education?
There's us, well, in Arizona side,
Arizona
I
side.
can count. There's us, Chinle, Ganado, Sanders, and Pinon. Winslow is one of those border towns, and most of their kids are either Navajo, Hopi, or Hispanic. And the crazy part is we are the one, did I miss one? Huh?
Many farms.
Many farms doesn't. They actually are not in good standing on the district advisor, so. Yes. I should slap Mr. Edsby around because he was a student teacher. Then we are the chapter that travels to everything, does everything, competes really well on all levels at district and state, and even had some state winning teams go back to nationals. And so I have this strong philosophy, and it came from, I can tell you, my own dad. He said, why do you want to go and teach those quote unquote crazy Indians? So I told him, these kids are just amazing kids. You got to get to know them. And once my dad did, he comes to county fair and now watches the kids show, and he brings his big truck, and everybody thinks he's cool grandpa and that kind of stuff. I inherited. I've already got things. So it'd be perfect to pull my little quarters trailer. So it's just an amazing opportunity. But when we talk distance-wise, kind of going back to if we go to a state competition, it's 3 hours to our county fair. 3 hours. We are hoteling it, and it's like the Clampets came to town. I mean, things are strapped to the side of trailers, roof racks, kids' leg hanging out the window. It seems like sometimes the only way we're going to fit. But we do try to keep all limbs inside. But we are one of the few chapters on the reservation that compete in everything. Chinle, which isn't too far from us, I ask the ag teacher and the advisor there all the time, why don't you take your kids, travel with them, take them places. And there's a stereotype that nothing good ever comes from the reservation. And I think that you saw tonight firsthand that that myth hopefully is debunked for you, and you can share that story on behalf of the kids because they're amazing. But we do face some racism, and that is her fear, is that her kids are gonna face racism, and I think it's our job to teach them how to handle those situations. Most kids' initial gut reaction will be one of two things. I'm either gonna shut down, drop my chin to my chest, and think I'm not worthy. Or, if they're the smart mouth kid, they're gonna run their mouth. And as a teenager, they sometimes like to run their mouth. And it's our job to teach them how do we handle it professionally, it goes back to that word. And sometimes it's not the words out of your mouth, going back to the creed, a faith born not of words but of deeds. Let's prove it to them in our actions. And so I think that's really important when we talk about where and how our kids compete and how they interact. Okay.
Questions from the audience? Victoria?
I apologize that you might have to all answer this one, but what do you guys generally want to do after you graduate? So.
Who would like to share?
I'll go first. So at first I was gonna do my first 4 years at Colorado State University, but after coming here and learning about your program, I'm thinking of doing my first 4 years here at Penn State.
Woohoo!
And then after my first 4 years, I'm gonna go to the Colorado State University for my next 4 years to earn my master's degree.
And what do you want to study?
Veterinary science.
Veterinary science.
And also I want to go to another college and get my bachelor's degree in nursing.
Okay.
And I
Nursing.
want to go to technical school and get my certificate.
Professional students. Who else would like to share?
I plan on doing like summer jobs and then side jobs that other people have. Like on the reservation, there's a lot of people who have trouble with horses and cattle pooping in their corral. And then what that does is that poop builds up, and then sometimes it's hard for their animals to get around, and for them to get around to feed their animals, refill the water, and even get to them when they're calving or when they're having their colts. And so I'm planning on going inside the corral and then like shoveling out all that poop or loading it up in a truck. And then what I do at my grandma's is I use that poop. I try to make it useful because my grandma lives 9 miles off the highway, and I fill in the ruts. There's like real nasty ruts. Hardly anybody goes in there, so I try to fill in those ruts and make the road better so they can drive easier. I'm planning on doing that, save up money. And after that happens, I want to start off at a community college and slowly make my way up to get my credits and to get more experience in what a real college or university will be like. Yeah.
What do you want to study here?
Huh?
What do you want to study?
What? Study here. Oh.
What?
I'm gonna be a brain surgeon.
Brain surgeon.
Oh.
Ag teacher.
Okay. Others you want to share?
I'm going to a community college in the state of Arizona, and I'm in a concurrent program,
Which one?
Arizona State University.
The community college.
Oh, Chandler Gilbert Community College.
Chandler Gilbert.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be there for my first 2 years. I'm doing, what is it called? Yeah, I'm an Associates of Science, and then transferring over into ASU to get my bachelor's of nursing. And then go to work and hope, and then come back to specialize in neonatal ICU.
There you go. Very good. Anybody else want to share?
I'm a senior, so I'm also kind of narrowly down now since I still haven't made my decision between two schools. But I'm either going to attend a community college in Arizona or a university in Colorado studying pre-nursing. And once I go into nursing school, I want to specialize in pediatric oncology nursing.
How far is it to Colorado from Caliente, from K-Town?
Into the state line of Colorado, it's about an hour and a half.
Okay. And how far is it to Utah?
5 minutes.
Very good. Anybody else like to share?
Well, actually I want to be a criminal investigator, and I hopefully want to join the military, and then once I'm done with all that, hopefully I want to raise bucking bulls.
There you go. Out of curiosity, how many of you are engaged in rodeo in one shape or form? Okay, very cool.
Najoni over there, she's being modest, but she actually rides bulls.
I brag about it to all my family members.
Melanie, I think I saw your hand.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could tell me what proportion of the students in your school are in an ag program?
Mrs. Mom, mom.
We are about 33% of the students in our high school are in the ag program. And that's kind of varies from year to year, but generally we've got about a third of the student population in the ag program.
What's the next biggest program in Cayenta? Besides FFA Ag, what else do you do? What's popular? What sport? Basketball?
Football.
Football.
Okay. Dr. Ingham?
Is there any significance to the color purple? I see some of you in
Oh. I don't know, there isn't. It's just my late Nelly lady, she loves the color purple, and I've kind of inherited that paper too.
Well, he's not here, but he asked me the same question. I'm not really into purple, but my grandma made it for me. And what I have known, not from what my grandma or my Nelly know, has taught me about the coloring, but from my two friends right here. Clan-wise, they're my grandpa, Che, and they're traditional, and they taught me what it means by wearing jewelry and these clothing. It points out that the Holy One, it shows that that's their grandchild. It points them out that by wearing colorful shirt and jewelry, turquoise, silver, it points them out right there. My grandson, my granddaughter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as y'all are going to be visiting our nation's capital for the first time, many of you, is there anything that you're looking forward to seeing? Trump? Okay, you want to see the president? You're on top like that? What else y'all going to see? What do you think of when you think of our nation's capital? Ice cream. We're losing on here. No?
The scenery?
All right, that's fine. Yes, ma'am.
So it sounds like some of you are going to go off and get maybe like 10 degrees after you graduate from high school, but how many of you guys think that after you get a college degree or any other education, that you're going to go back and use that education on the reservation?
All the time.
Yeah.
So your intent and desire is to return to the reservation.
It's our home.
Because education where we come from, it's hard to get by, and you never know that, like how these guys will tell stories about how our little sister or someone could just look up to us.
It's basically what my friends are telling us all the time.
You can spend like all the time you want in the cities, and you still get homesick. You miss home, you miss the tumbleweeds, dirt, and the rock. You miss your mountains, your mesas, you miss the trees, you miss everything.
You just get so used to home, you don't want to be gone from it too long.
I assume that many of you can visualize Monument Valley, or perhaps if you're not, you should Google image it because it's very picturesque. You might think of wonderful John Wayne movies that were shot there.
Growing up,
Question?
so like, it seems like all of you are pretty bilingual. Was that something that you spoke your native language in the home and then learned English at school, or did you learn both at home?
Most students were spoken to in Navajo, but with my family, my parents are not very traditional, and I very minimal speak Navajo. So my grandparents will ask me things in Navajo, and I'll just look at them like a lost puppy, like, what the heck did you just say? Ow!
Yeah, I was actually in kindergarten twice.
Our
because
grandparents, they tell us to, like, you know, keep the tradition alive. You gotta speak the language, and then they say the language and the prayer are gonna is what is going to get you through life. It's going to help you with all your troubles. You know, like in our tradition, in the prayer saying said in our Navajo language, and it's always answered in a way. If you ask for something and you pray in Navajo, you'll get it one day, or you'll get it sometime later. So that's why our grandparents say, you know, keep your tradition close to your heart, keep it alive. It's going to guide you through life.
Okay, Thomasina, can you repeat what you said, because she didn't catch it?
So I was actually in kindergarten twice because I didn't understand English.
Some of us been in kindergarten twice, or we have trouble with English when we first started school. So our parents would tell us stories about what they did in boarding school, and then we'd come home and say, Mom, I've been to boarding school. And they say, oh, what's it like? And they say, oh, the teachers, they don't understand us. And they just look at us and say, what is he saying, or what is she saying? So it was very hard for us, some of us, to learn English.
Mache, he really tells us to learn our language. Learn it, speak it. Nowadays, there's hardly any of us younger. My generation on down, they say. They don't know our language. It's fading away. Soon, we're going to be clueless what the native language means. And we lost. We don't know it. So that's why we are really encouraged by our grandparents, even spoken to. And we have to speak back to them because they don't understand English. Only native, our own tongue, native, Navajo.
I was spoken to in English when I was small, while I was growing up. But I was also spoken to in Navajo. But my first language is English, so I'm still trying to become fluent in Navajo myself, even though I'm Navajo. And recently, my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, he had a partial hip surgery, and then he came down with pneumonia, and then he has lung cancer because he was a mine worker, and so he couldn't stay home in his hogan all by himself anymore. And so my father, he left his job, and he became a home medical care provider for my paternal grandfather, my Nelly. And so when he came in, he doesn't speak any English at all. He only spoke Navajo. And so I was able to kind of grasp some knowledge of the language from him, because I had to interact with him and speak with him. And my parents, they would leave off to town to handle some other kind of business, maybe get some stuff, some provisions for home, food, and I would be all by myself home with my little sister, and we would be the only ones who were there to take care of him. And so a lot of us, we know how to speak English, and we can understand Navajo, but we can't really truly speak it fluently.
In our tradition, the language is powerful. It's like it's like your shield. It can protect you. It can get you things. And when Mr. was in the hospital, some of us, because he was our advisor, he was like family, so some of us prayed for him that he can get out of the hospital. And then, to his surprise, it worked. He got out of the hospital, and then he got better. He got back onto his feet and did what he loved, teaching and helping Native Americans. So that's how we keep the tradition alive, to help others, or benefit from it.
Thank y'all so much for sharing. Now, I think we need to shift things up. We're going to transition over. Y'all can have snacks. I heard you talking over here. That we have enough guests and enough Native students. What I would really like to see, this is a request, is that we try to split off and talk one-on-one a little bit here instead of all just clumping up. That's kind of what I want to shift to. But before we do, I need to bring something to your attention. I heard about every one of y'all talk about how important these two teachers were to you. It's important to me that you know this. In the past 20 years, at least, maybe longer, we have never had enough qualified teachers to return to native areas. Period. All those programs on that reservation should have a chance. Every student like Caliente. But they need dedicated teachers like this. They need dedicated teachers that care about their people. So I challenge you to think about that. You too could be the next Mr. and Miss McBride. You too could be a teacher making a difference. And I want you to think, because that's serious. We need more native teachers. And there's a lot of need. So I want to share that. But now we're going to go. Y'all can talk one-on-one, eat some snacks. Thank you so much for coming. Whoa. I'm getting pointed at.
Yeah. Before we go over eat some snacks, I just want to thank you on behalf of Teach Ag Society for coming.
Yeah.
And
See, you get,
and we just wanted to share. Sorry. We just wanted to share with you guys some Penn State Teach Ag swag. So if you guys want to come, everyone, we'll get a bag. What's that? That's from your suitcase.
I don't know why I just like when you say that. I don't like yeah. And they're like wearing the stuff I'm like, I feel horrible for you. I spent what is my mom there? Like I'm dying. Get me out of here.
We adjusted.
What do you think?
You missed it.
You're like so cool. I went to Target and I bought sweaters. I was like, that's all I know money. I bought one sweater and I washed it like every day. So I went like, I'm like, you are not even good at this. That's where we like have sick relief. You still have
All guns, I heard there was one at the mall and I was office. There's one picture. I'm not over there. Thank you very much. Well done. Good job. Thank you.
I don't know if you know, he started wearing underwear.
Hey, Melanie.
He's like, I have my own. You can see it just like either way.
Hey, who's going to take it? You take the picture? The picture they're trying to set up of all our kids and their kids. Well, I did. Doing the best I can.
Also, like you told me to take pictures, but I stand in front of the camera and like stand up in front of
I'll tell them they can't wait for the water.
Are you waiting around?
Do the best you
Let's put some people on chairs in the front because I want some people on the end.
Everybody in the picture. Take the picture quick, we got to eat food. Here. Oh man, this is awesome. Okay.
Oh, you guys.
Can you win that one?
I'm missing someone. You're missing mom? You're missing mom?
Which one have they?
That one.
More?
That one right there. Yes. That's fine, that's fine.
Victoria, is this stop?
Okay, no, I don't think so.